I was walking down the street the other day, taking in the sights, on my way to visit you. I bumped into an old high school friend I hadn't seen in years. He wasn't looking no too good, oh no. He needed some potluck, oh potluck.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Duncan Showroom. We're live on the airwaves here for Tales and Travels with Eugene Smith. The Dr. Ted informs me we're on episode 7.
Woo!
We forgot to count. Got a couple of messages for you here, Eugene.
Okay.
I didn't memorize them. I have to look over here. Hello, Eugene from Minerva, Kate and Charlie in London, Canada, not England. Of course, if you'd rather, hello, Eugene from Elizabeth, Philip, and I. When do we get to send in jokes? They want to add some jokes in. And Carol Gordon waiting again. R. Rustlin, that's Pete's brother, Rob, in Uxbridge, Ontario.
Okay.
And Bob Nation back again, our favorite guy, Bob Nation. So welcome, Gene. How you doing today? I noticed you got a lovely shirt on.
Yes, I'm turquoisey today.
That's a very good spring color, I think.
Yeah, I thought I'd cheer myself up with this shirt.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm just carrying on like I always do, and everything seems to be rosemary and sweet whiskey. Or is it the other way around? Sweet rosemary and whiskey.
Sweet roses and wine? I'm not quite sure where you're going with that one, but that's a new one. You've made up a new one.
So I thought today I'd start off at a tune that I've been trying to remember for a long time. So this is what I wrote back in the, back in the 70s maybe. I can never remember. Can you see me, Bill?
I can see you on television here.
Oh.
Not you actually physically, because we're socially distanced behind a curtain.
Okay. So it's called Daniel. You're the main man. Sun warms up the morning, chasing away the dew. You got a whole lot of hard work, Daniel, cut out for you. A cool summer breeze blows in through your open bedroom window with the wind. Well, it's time to rise and shine. Let your day begin. You're working hard on the land. You're down to earth. You wouldn't trade a life to lead where all the treasures in the world, oh no. Your daddy and his daddy before him worked the land. Now it's your turn, Daniel. You're the main man. Oh, you're the main man. You're out there in the midday sun. Some days your body hurts. You know, with a little luck and sweat from your brow, you can make it work. Well, you feel the spirits of your ancestors by your side, reminding you when the harvest is in. It's such a natural high. You're working hard on the land. You're down to earth. You hadn't dreamed a life to leave for all the treasures in the world, oh no. Your daddy and his daddy before him worked the land, all right. Now it's your turn, Daniel. You're the main man. Oh, yeah, you're the main man. dinner bell ringing, you know your day is through. You take a look around at what you've done, the pride swells up in you. Seated around the dinner table, just before you say let's pray, you look across and there sits your son. You'll hand it to him someday. You're working hard on the land, you're down to earth. You wouldn't dream the life you leave her all the treasures in the world, oh no. Your daddy and his daddy before him worked the land, oh. Now it's your turn, Daniel, you're the main man. Woo! You're the main man. You're the main man, Daniel. Whoa! Yeah, you're the main man. You're working hard on the land. You're down to earth. You wouldn't trade a life you leave her all the treasures in the world. Oh no. Your daddy and his daddy before him worked the land. Now it's your turn, Daniel. You're the main man.
Ooh, nice one, Gene. I don't think I've ever heard that song.
Yeah, me too.
You too. Just pulled it out of your back pocket, eh?
Yeah.
Nice. Was it hard to remember the lyrics?
Obviously not.
No, it came back. That's great.
I know it all came back to me in an instant.
Well, I must say, good to hear a song about honest labor. I've been thinking about Peepin' and Poppin' lately, and I still can't figure out what that one's about. So
which one's that?
Peepin' and Poppin'. I just
Peepin' and
I don't
Hidin'?
have no idea what that song is
Peeping
about.
and hiding and
Peeping and hiding.
sliding. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's story time there for you folks out there in Disneyland. Well, tonight I was trying to think of a story that I could tell. And I decided what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to tell a story, but it's going to be in two parts. And it's in two parts for certain reasons, which you'll find out as we go along. And this story concerns Gord Fleming, who was the keyboard player for Ronnie Hawkins when we worked together, and John Till, who was the guitar player, who later on went with Janis Joplin. Anyways, I'll start with Gord because it's important that I start with Gordy's story. And what I'm doing with Gordy is I'm trying to build up his character so he'll understand, so it makes sense for the second part. Gord Fleming was probably one of the best B3 players in Toronto at the time, in the 60s, and then onwards. But and I got to work with Gordy with Ronnie Hawkins down at the Lecoq Door in Toronto. And Gordy had a twin brother named Paul. They were identical twins. Now these two guys, I mean, they taught themselves how to play wonderfully. They did it all. They learned how to play and read and write music. And Paul played the sax and Gordy played keyboards. And he was just wonderful. I never heard anybody, well, I never played with anybody that would play the B3 and then have the bass lines behind him with his feet and using the bass pedals. Anyways, Gordy and his brother were kind of strange in their own way. They didn't really know how to take care of themselves on a daily basis. They would come to the gigs sometimes with their clothes all tattered and stuff, and Ronnie would get upset with them. And Gordy was the band leader as far as the musical part went, and he was making more money than anybody else in the band because he was the director, so Gordy and his brother, they were the type of people. I went over to their apartment one time, and they asked me if I wanted some coffee, and I said, sure, I'll have a cup of coffee. They said, well, pick up that mug over there, that cup over there, take that one. And so I went to pick it up. The kitchen was a mess, and I picked it up, and the saucer came with it. And I went, oh, my goodness. It was terrible. But anyways, one time we were in a restaurant in downtown Toronto, the band, this was after hours, and we all left, and I didn't have any money to put the tip. So I went to pay my bill and then come back and put the tip on the table. When I came back, Gordy was scooping up all the tips off the table that all the other guys in the band had put down. And I said to Gordy, I said, I don't want to, as long as we work together, don't ever, ever do that. And I said, I don't want you to ever do that again, stealing the tips, scooping up the tips. You know what I mean, Billy? Oh, I was appalled. Anyways, and Gordy was a drinker. He became an alcoholic, and he just couldn't stop. Then he started going to AA. This is later on after he left Ronnie, but during the Ronnie Hawkins era, he was heavily into the booze, and then he just couldn't stop, and then he finally did. And then I hired him into my band when he was going to AA, and I had to babysit him. It was really hard. we were going to be going in the 80s. We were going to to Halifax and St. John's for 2 weeks for a month, and Gordy, he got into painting. He got into doing portraits and stuff. He was really, really good at it, and he also got into restoring paintings, which was really a hard job to do, to get into a profession to restore paintings. So we get to go on the plane, Air Canada, and he's got a can of paint thinner, and he's got this box of stuff, for his artwork, and of course they had to send him way down to the other end of the airport so he could put this stuff on the plane. So Gordy and the other thing about Gordy and his brother, the Flemings, they come from Windsor, Ontario, and their uncle was Donald Fleming, who was finance minister of Canada under the Diefenbaker era. And Gordy and his brother told me one time that at the age of 16, they decided to hitchhike all the way to Ottawa to visit their aunt and uncle. And so they hitchhiked all the way to Ottawa. Well, of course, their uncle didn't want them there. They had long hair and didn't look great and smelled probably even better. But anyways, he didn't want them in the house at all. He didn't want them there. Now, his brother was an artist himself, so that's where they got their artistry from. But anyways, so apparently their aunt let them in the house when their uncle wasn't home. And she fed them and then gave them money to take the bus back to Windsor. So I'm building up a character of Gordy because he was just a wonderful, keyboard player. I just love Gordy's playing. And anyways, as we go on, the story I'm going to tell, the rest of the story I'm going to tell is about us down south with Ronnie. So I'll leave it at that for now. And we'll take a small commercial break, Billy.
Tiny commercial break. Over to the mostly hostly. Who else have we got here? Oh, yes, Rob saying missing the island big time. And Fresh Pete Air, Toronto checking in. Linda Olson, hi from Ken and Linda in Courtney.
Howdy, howdy.
So we got some regular listeners, Gene. That's kind of good.
Yeah,
good news.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, the series is going well, I think.
We should syndicate.
That's what Chris Whiteley said. Yeah, and he's from the big city, so he would know. And it was kind of nice to hang out with them. Good to see he and Diane Braithwaite still on the island.
Yeah, they're still here. They can't take the train back, so they decided to stay and spend the summer here, and then probably go back in the fall or whenever.
Right, they seem to be really liking it.
Oh yeah, well, people enjoy their music too, So
yes,
and they've played here at the showroom.
They've been to the showroom,
and let's thank John for the showroom.
Thank you, John. Yes, we thank Longevity John for his vision and his perseverance, and the little and your whatness. Stubbornness. Well, I substituted perseverance for stubbornness, John. That's all right. We just flashed the little icon for the tip jar there. So if you'd like to contribute, the proceeds are split between Eugene and the showroom to keep us going here. So we'd appreciate that if you care to. And now, where are you going, Gene? The boys are headed back to Windsor on the bus. That's a long trip to see your uncle who doesn't want to see you, isn't it? We had an uncle like that, too, who was a big muckety-muck in the government in Ottawa.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't that fond of us either.
No, well,
Yeah.
apparently their uncle, after the Diefenbaker era, when he was prime minister, after that ended, their uncle went down to Miami, I think, and started his own bank or became president of a bank down there.
Making some real money. Oh.
But, yeah, so I'll continue on now. Is that okay?
That sounds good. That's a very good idea. Yeah, no, that's what we like you to do.
I'd like to say hello to some new people that might be watching over in Holland, Antonio and Ton and those people on the boats over there. Just say hello to them tonight. I think they might be tuning in.
These were friends that you met when you were
Over
staying
the-
on the houseboat in Amsterdam.
Yeah, for 3 years.
3
with
years.
Victoria.
Nice adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's like this is kind of like a cliffhanger, isn't it?
It's very scintillating. Scintillating is what I'd say. Yes.
So, as it goes, we're back to the Ronnie Hawkins days, and we're down south, and I think I've already told you a story about down south. So this one concerns John Till and Gordy and myself and Dave Lewis and Bob Boucher and Roland the roadie, and so we're going to this gig, and I can't remember where it was, but it was in Arkansas. And you also have to remember that Gordy, whenever he got drunk, he would fall off his piano bench onto the floor, and so we would just leave him there, and then we would pack up all the other equipment, and he'd be the last piece to go into the truck because if we woke him up, it would be terror. We wouldn't get any. He just, So, anyways, we're playing in this club one night, and we get there, and John Till, for some reason or other, one of the young ladies that came to see us play, she had about 3 or 4 suitors, and she was this rich girl, come from a rich family, and she had all these guys chasing her. And she decided that she'd do something, and so she decided she would make a play for John, which she did. And John, being John, didn't know what was going on. We all didn't know that she had an agenda. So, anyways, we do this gig. And after it's over, somebody comes in and says, "You better get out there because your guitar player is surrounded by a whole bunch of guys." And I said, and we all said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." And meanwhile, Gordy's passed out on the stage, and we've loaded up the equipment into the van. And there was a female reporter that had come from Little Rock to the gig with us, and she was going to do an article on Ronnie. So she was one of our traveling guests that night. And so Roland, the sound man, says to me, come out now. My name was Jay Smith then. So, Jay, I want you to come out. And I forgot to tell everybody that when we were traveling around Arkansas, we went into a grocery store one day, and I was standing in line with my groceries, and I was looking at the counter, and they had all these guns there. And I went, "Oh, wow." So I said, "How much is that gun?" And the guy said, "Oh, it's $30 plus shells." I said, "Oh, let's kind of take a look at it. It was a 38. So, a souvenir." I couldn't believe it. So he puts all my groceries in a bag and puts the gun on top of them, and put the gun on top of my groceries. And I walked out of the store, no questions asked whatsoever. So I had this gun with me in the truck this particular night, and so Roland says, "You grab that gun, stick it in the back of your pants, and come on out there and with me." And he grabbed John's walking stick that he had bought in the Ozarks, and he says, "We're going to go out there and save John." So we go out there, and I'm standing. Roland goes there. He's standing there, and he's going, all right, you guys, break it up, break it up. And John's standing. He's terrified because he can't go anywhere, and these guys have him surrounded, and all these boyfriends, of this girl. And one guy goes with the karate moves and everything else, at Roland, and Roland just said, well, you better settle that guy down and everything else. But meanwhile, I'm standing there, and I've got this pistol in the back of my pants, and I'm thinking, Eugene, what are you doing? You're down in Arkansas, and you're man of color. You shouldn't be doing this. So what happens is, Gordy, we had put Gordy in the truck, and he was sitting in the back of the truck with the woman from the Little Rock. And all of a sudden, we got them all calmed down, and all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, here comes Gordy, and he's got a can of hairspray in his hand. And he's going, where are they? Let me at them. Let me at him. He's going. And I went, oh, my God, no. And Roland says, get that man back in the van quick. And I turned around, and I grabbed Gordy, and I put him in the van. And he got in the back of the van. We all got it, and it all settled down. The guys, they all went home. The woman, she left, and we got John in the truck. Now we're on our way home. And Gordy, for some reason or other, kept coming to in the back of the truck, and he started kicking the seat. We're rolling with the back of Roland's seat while he's driving. You got to take me back there. And he kept kicking this in. What's going on, Gordy? I left my wallet back there. I lost my wallet. I don't know where it is. And he kept kicking Roland's seat, and I'm sitting in the front beside Roland, and Roland's mouth is going. He's moving. He's swearing under his breath. And he's going, if I won't get into the whole thing. But he said, and I could tell that Roland was upset. He was pissed. He was going to do something to Gordy if Gordy didn't stop kicking the back of his seat. So I said to Roland, Roland, pull over real quick. And so Roland pulled the truck over, and I jumped out of the truck, and I put the seat forward, and I reached. Gordy was sitting in the middle of John Till, and I think it was Bob Boucher, or maybe it was Dave Lewis, I'm not sure. Anyways, I grabbed a hold of Gordy, and I pulled him out of the truck, and I went like this on his face. I didn't slap him hard. I just wanted to shock. I said, now shut up and get into the truck, or you're going to get killed by Roland. Just shut up. Well, Gordy, we were down there for 6 weeks, and he wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks after. He avoided me for 2 weeks, and that was okay because I saved his life from getting beat up really seriously by Roland, and it was an experience that was pretty scary at the time, but it was very memorable. That's why I'm able to tell all you people this story tonight. And that's the story of how it goes. Thank you very much.
It seems to be true, Gene. Rock and roll is a vicious game.
Well, it has its moments, Whoa. I mean, not like every story on the road is not always great. It's not always good. It's like I remember my parents and my aunts and uncles and friends of our families used to come over to our house, and they'd always talk about different people they know. So they would talk about how, Bill, they'd say, this is what they would say, Bill. Oh, Charlie, he can't boil a pot of water without burning it. And I thought that was just a story. But when I got on the road, and I was in a band house with the guys on the road, and I'd be the only one that could cook and stuff, sure enough, somebody in the band would come and put a pot of water on the stove. The next thing you know, they go back into their bedroom. Next thing you know, the whole kitchen in the house would be filled with smoke because they'd be burning the pot and all the water. And I went, oh, my God, that story is true. My parents and everybody, the elders, they weren't kidding when they talked about that.
Good thing you have good skills. Your mother taught you well.
Well, she did. She taught me how how to cook, and gave me essentials, the bare essentials, and I got a little better as I got older, with herbs and all that stuff, and she taught me how to bake a little bit, so so it was really, I used to say to the guys in the band, okay, you guys, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to cook twice a week, and I'm going to make food that will be leftovers, so you buy the food and I'll cook it. And that's what I used to do. And it worked out okay.
That's a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
It's followed you through your life. I was going to say, I'm sure glad you didn't pull that gun out of your pants, Gene. Back in that era, a colored man, as you say, pulling a gun on a bunch of white men, it could have been, who knows if hanging was still in the statute in Arkansas for that sort of thing.
Well, you never know, but I started thinking about it once I got in the middle of the circle, and I'm standing behind Roland, and I'm going, "Oh my God, Eugene, what are you doing?"
What a novelty! It's such a weird picture, isn't it, for us up here, like to just put the gun on the top of the groceries and take it out of the store. Yeah,
it was the other thing they used to do is most of the places we played were they were kind of like barns in a way, but I never seen or clubs. But the people would come to the club, and the club would just sell soft drinks, and people would come with their own booze.
Right.
Like, and one time we played this place, these four guys came in, and they had a wash tub filled with, I don't know, homemade liquor. I don't know what it was in there. But they had a wash tub, and they set it on top of the table, and they were just dipping into the wash tub whenever they wanted to drink, and they bought, I'd never seen that before, just try and do that up here. I don't think that would ever happen.
They thought they were French. Deep connections to the old country down south there. So you're going to take us out with a song? What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, any more replies there? Any more comments? No, that's it?
Our Rustlin must have said something racy because it was retracted. That's the first time I've seen one get bleeped before.
Oh, it got bleeped.
Well, it's retracted. I don't know what that means, YouTube. He just...
Maybe he took it back.
Oh, that could be.
Peter, Peter, Peter.
Well, that was Rob, sorry.
So I made Victoria very happy today because I phoned her up and told her that I have my plane ticket.
Oh, I bet. And you said it was just, no, this is the day after your anniversary, so that's good news.
Yeah, so that's good. I got my plane ticket.
13 years. Wow.
Yeah.
I could put several of my longest relationships together, and it still wouldn't add up to 13 years. So good on you. Good work.
Okay, so let me see. What could I end off with here? Just... This is a song that goes back. It's a Jerry Butler tune. He don't love you like I love you. If he did, he wouldn't break your heart. He don't love you now like I love you. He's trying to tear us apart. Fare thee well, I know you're leaving for the new love that you found. Well, the handsome guy you've been dating got a feeling he's gonna let you down, because I say now he don't love you like I love you. If he did, he wouldn't break your heart. He don't love you now like I love you. He's trying to tear us apart. He uses all the breaks and quotation. He says all the things I wish I could say. But he's had so many, a rehearsal girl. To him it's just another game. Wait, I want to tell you. And when the final act is over and you're left standing all alone, when he takes his bows, makes his exit, I'll be there to take you home. Because I say now, he don't love you like I love you. If he did, he wouldn't turn out break your heart. He don't love you like I love you. He's trying to tear us apart. Yeah, he don't love you, and he never will, like I love you. Come on, he don't love you like I do. No, he don't. He don't love you like I do. No, he don't. I say, he don't love you like I love you. He don't love you now like I love you. No.
All right, Eugene Smith, everybody.
Thank you, everybody,
Travels.
and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Linda Olson said he keeps saying you'll make them a pie. Well, stand in line, Linda. I told you that a couple weeks ago.
Well, I have to tell everybody that I told Billy that the next pie I make will have his name on it.
Yay! All right. Belated birthday pie.
Belated birthday
Oh,
pie.
we have a new person here. A.B. Unsen. Times move too fast when you're singing and telling stories. Looking forward to hearing you in Ontario again.
Who's
Is
that?
Unsen? A.B. Unsen.
Munson.
Unsen, sorry, yes.
Oh, Bill and
Familiar?
Pat. How you doing, guys?
There you go. You got lots of fans on the east side, too. That's right.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks so much to Longevity John, the Duncan Showroom, and to
Tim
Dr.
over there,
Ted.
the sound man.
Dr. Ted Cadillac. All right. Thanks to Eugene, and my name is Bill Levity. We will see you next Tuesday. All right. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody. There it is. That guy sounds familiar. Here we go.
Who is that masked man?
Who is that? God, that bass playing, eh?
Seasons come and seasons go. Rich get richer, poor stay poor. They try to take away the middle ground, always trying to keep it down. Mother Earth said, I'll take care of this. Father Time said, I'll be behind you, sis. Together they're gonna change the way. While we're living from day to day, well, all I want you to do for me, all I want you to do for yourselves, take a look around, my friends. Open up your beautiful mind as we walk a thin line.